It's time to go. Time to quench your thirst, to live. Time to shake and make. Time to head back on the road, our way. A freedom feast, fold the mist. It's time to go. It's time to speed up the pulse, intensify the beat. To get together, meet and greet. It's time to go. Time to lift off and cruise. It's showtime. Turn on the lights and hit the stage. To exhale. It's time to go. It's time for legends, a bright era. Time for the skilled to be raw, to make way for the stubborn adventurers, the ones who outline frontiers and narrow the gaps. It's time to go. Time to leave a mark, an exclamation one. Time to roam and ramble on, eyes on fire. Time to stand out and be courage. It's time to inspire.
Becoming a Portuguese citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Hi, I'm NPG, and I help Portuguese descendants all over the world with dual citizenship, guiding them along with our network of experts all the way from here in Lisbon to America, without confusing steps and bureaucratic documents. I know, it's very hard to believe. Sign up right here. Let's get this started. Becoming a Portuguese dual citizen.
Thank you, Nelson. I appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, everyone. Bon dia.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can you imagine yourself here in the center of Lisbon? Who would you bring? Your family, your friends? Imagine the things you could do with your Portuguese dual citizenship. You could use any of the Medicare that Europe has to offer. You could work and study. The cartão cidadão. We call it a very bureaucratic country, and it is, but it has something new. So in America, you need to have an extra social security card. The cartão cidadão has 3 numbers in the back. Once you get your citizenship, the passport is very, very fast. It depends on the timing, but sometimes it could take just a week. Once you have all that in order, then it's very easy to make your kids also citizens, because you have all the documents organized.
This is what he's going to do for you. He's going to introduce to you the stress relief of becoming a Portuguese citizen without you having to leave your house. And this is what we need.
For the past 20 years, he had the opportunity to serve as an advisor to 4 consul generals of Portugal in the United States.
You built a huge credibility within all the communities, I believe. Your interaction with the consulate office, with the government of Portugal, you built that respect.
Doing things for the community, working tirelessly together. You're one of the few people that I've always been able to count on. If you say you're going to do something, I know you're going to do it. And if I want something done and I have you do it, I know it's going to get done and done well.
This experience of having your citizenship, it's something that is easy. It's not the nightmare you're used to hearing everybody describe, so that you have access to some of these documents, to Portuguese documents that are difficult for you to understand.
Is there a significant difference in process for Canadian versus U.S. citizens?
The process and the documents they require are the same.
And I am in Hayward, California, over here on the sunny side of the bay.
Digam-me se preferem que eu fale convosco em português ou inglês.
I've been interested in many years to become a Portuguese citizen.
Getting up in age, and I would like to go over there more often, and I'd like to become part of the Portuguese community.
I already have both originals.
I have a question about my birth certificate, passport, and driver's license.
Do I just click on that link?
So the email went through, and I'm getting the app on my phone right now.
This team of people you could trust, people that could really take care of you and your citizenship, walk you by the hand all the way through the process. Very knowledgeable lawyers, solicitadores, notários públicos. From here in Lisbon, from America, in Portuguese, in English, you can find your path to citizenship. Or even if you are a citizen, but you want to get the citizenship for your kids, and you're wondering what do you need to do, what's the next step, to interact with us, to be on the same room and talk back and forward about your process so that we could help you identify your path to citizenship. Thousands of citizenships, complex cases, and solve problems that you weren't able to solve up to now because they don't answer the phone or they don't email you at the places you've been trying. And you'll have access to this beautiful team, and I will be here with you, guiding you and helping you. If there's one thing you know I do is I get things done, and I will help you getting your Portuguese dual citizenship.
He was elected to represent the Portuguese community in America as advisor to the Portuguese government.
That is something that is priceless, and I'm a perfect example. Trying to do it on your own can be extremely frustrating and lead to a lot of dead ends.
O Nelson sempre mostrou uma capacidade de trabalho enorme, de boa vontade para chegar ao fim de uma meta.
Incredible in terms of the work ethic. Your character is one that is to be admired, and you're a doer. You facilitate the process.
Become Portuguese citizens, especially in Portugal, because it takes decades to get something done. He's not trying to get your money. That's not what it's all about. It's all about his heart, because he wants to help people without spending a lot of money and spending time. And then you'll be waving the red, green, and yellow flag, and you'll be going, Heroes do Mar!
Become a Portuguese dual citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Hello everybody, welcome to day 3 of becoming a Portuguese dual citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Welcome to this live, the very last day of the live. We're still having people tuning in especially from America and Canada. We have more than 1,200 people sign up for this 3-day challenge. I really appreciate you, and I want to make this interactive. I want to make sure that you blow that comment box. Just comment where you're watching this from. If it's from California, Toronto, East Coast, wherever you're at. We have Portuguese in more than 147 countries. So we want to see what country, what state, what area you're tuning in from. Now, I hope that the first day, who watched the first day? Just type in, I watched the first day, I watched the second, first time. Just let us know. Go to the comment box and let's make this interactive. We are live in more than 9 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. So we want to make sure that we serve you to become Portuguese in the days that we celebrate Portugal, Camões e comunidades portuguesas. I'm talking in English because I would say 80-90% of you don't talk Portuguese, and we have a very special guest from Los Angeles, California, that's going to come in here and give you some tips on learning Portuguese, on the Portuguese test that is required for citizenship, because that is one thing that came out a lot in the comments. We have more than 500,000 views on this promo video that you just watched from the streets of Lisbon, and 3 of the things that come out the most, questions that you have, is who takes the test? It's a little confusing. Who needs to take the test for citizenship? Some people don't need to take the test. Others do. We're going to clear that out. And I'm going to make one correction, because this is the 3rd day of live, a total of almost 5 hours live talking with you. Of course, on those 5 hours, it's possible that's going to be a mistake that I say, or there's going to be something that the law just changed, because these things keep changing. What was true a month ago is not true any longer, and we want to stay updated. And as soon as we hear something that is inaccurate, we want to make sure we correct it. So we have somebody here that specializes in the teaching of Portuguese, European Portuguese, and I said that on the earlier lives that the Instituto Camões which is a very respected institute responsible for the teaching of Portuguese worldwide, I thought they were also responsible for the test. They're involved, and some of the teachers of Camões are involved, but the institution that oversees these tests is a different institution. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to see a little bit of samples of some of the questions, some of the things that you might want to learn if that's your path. But don't worry, if you go through parents or you go through spouses, you don't need to do that test. However, we still incentivize you to learn some Portuguese words, and we're going to have an amazing teacher coming next. She has taught hundreds and hundreds of students from all ages in Portuguese. Now, moving on. First day, the why. Why become a Portuguese citizen? So now I'm going to do a little bit of a resumo, não é? Oversee what we did. And what we did was the why. The second question probably that comes out the most in this challenge, in the comments, in the video with more than 500,000 views that reached people over America and Canada is, why should I become a Portuguese dual citizen? And we're not here to force you or to obligate you to become a Portuguese citizen. The idea is that if you're interested in becoming and you're having trouble, we're going to give you tips and some secrets to make that easier for you. But if you're still not convinced, if you, looking at me right now live on those 7 platforms, let me know where you're from and why you're not sure of this. Why you're not sure, if you're scared of some of the things you heard, that you might lose your American or your Canadian citizenship, or that I don't know, something bad will happen. Well, let me tell you, we've met some people that we helped that have 3 citizenships from 3 different areas, and some areas allow quadruple citizenship. The times of just having to be citizen of one country, they're gone. Many years ago, excuse me, you had to have only one citizenship. Now that's not a problem, and this is confirmed by consul generals, by ambassadors, by ministers. What I'm telling you on this is 100% accurate. There's nothing to be scared of. Well, now you tell me, well, why, if I'm American or Canadian and I don't plan on living in Portugal or ever? My point is, what if America or Canada in a few years is no longer the country of opportunity, of safety, of security that you grew up knowing, the people you migrated to or you grew up to, and you want to change? What if, due to all these wars, all this political instability, you want to have an option of Europe? That's always good to have. It won't hurt. And take advantage of it before it's too late, because the right to Portuguese citizenship expires with time. So we know a lot of people, and a lot came to these challenges. A lot of them commented on our promo videos. A lot of them we met in Hawaii recently when I released my book, Portuguese in Hawaii. And they're very sad that they can no longer become a Portuguese dual citizen. Why? Because it goes up to the grandparents. And then if they want to do that, they can, but they cannot do through the heritage path that is the easiest one. They could do through a D visa, or they used to be able to do through a golden visa. The golden visa, it's something, that's an example right there of something that about a month ago, the golden visa was going. Right now, it's kind of ending. It's still, it's shady. I don't want to pronounce myself on that because the rules are changing, but they say it's going to end or ended already, or they're only taking up to a few weeks ago. Not going to talk about that because we're focusing on becoming Portuguese from heritage, either from your parents, spouse, or grandparents. So these are some of the reasons you should become a Portuguese dual citizen, but also to celebrate your heritage. And as we celebrate Dia de Portugal, Camões, the poet, writer, and Comunidades Portuguesas, the diaspora, what better way for you to have your cartão de cidadão and your passport to earn all the benefits of not only Portugal, but 27 European countries, 27 and growing. Some of the main countries you hear, like, Spain, Italy, France, Greece, Germany, Switzerland, Luxembourg, all these countries, many of them with salaries and conditions of life as good or better than the United States and Canada, okay? We love America, we love Canada. We were, myself, my wife, my kid, we were all born in the United States, and we thank the United States for the opportunities that it has provided us. But now we live a life between United States and Portugal, more specifically Azores, where I'm talking to you right now. I am standing here in the center of the archipelago, celebrating Dia de Portugal with you, and let me tell you, you guys out there, I already had this impression, but now spending Dia de Portugal here in Portugal, I can tell you that the Dia de Portugal is felt with a lot more intensity, with a lot more celebrations, many more flags than over here in Dia de Portugal. That is a strange thing to observe because there's this huge passion for all of you that live out there. So I want you to do me a favor, and then you'll also be entered to win a free service for citizenship. Again, let me clarify this. We don't attribute citizenship, so we can't give you a citizenship. What we can do is provide you all the services to get your citizenship, translations, powers of attorney, birth certificates, all those payments you have to do, forms, lawyer, government fees. There's government fees for that. We pay all of that for you to one person that we're going to select. So you post your picture of Dia de Portugal, where were you celebrating on our group? Comment where you're from. Mostly Canada has one of the largest celebrations of Dia de Portugal in the world. It used to gather about 100,000 people. I don't know about this year, but that's what used to happen. Then other places like New Jersey, New York, I think they canceled because of the air quality this year. California, Kelly Park. Kelly Park is such a beautiful place. It used to gather about 10,000 people. Now it's a little less, but still a beautiful venue, a beautiful place and a beautiful park. So post pictures of that. If you don't have pictures, comment. What did you do? What did you eat? What songs did you listen to celebrate Portugal? And then also let me know what you want me to address in this live, because I'm going to go back there to my desk and I'm going to read the comments with your name and try to figure out what is it that you want to know. Today, we're going to go very specific. First day, why? Second day, the framework. How do we do this? We started getting into details about it. Before I go back to the desk and start getting into these details and bringing up Sandra for the Portuguese learning tips, I want to tell you a very short history of us and of myself. I was born in Los Gatos, California. And raised up to 6 years old in America. Then my parents moved back to Azores when I was 6. Then I went back to the United States. And recently we're living between America and Portugal, and actually sometimes more Portugal than America. And when we first got here, although we were Portuguese, we had many problems with bureaucracy, Portuguese bureaucracy. It is a nightmare. It is one of the things that everybody complains, whether it's the consulates or over here the conservatórias, or them sending you to one place or other place with confusing steps, with things that are not clear. And we went through that as well. During 5 years, we opened business, we opened bank accounts, we got real estate licenses, other legal aspects, purchased property, did architecture licensing from the mayors. So we went through it all, and we almost gave up. We almost gave up because it's very, very, very frustrating. But we kept pushing. We never gave up, and we learned a lot of tips, a lot of secrets, a lot of not to do's. So please use this example that I have of my life, my experience of the things that failed. We failed in many things. We had many problems, but we learned from those. And now we have this framework. We have this knowledge. We have this list of steps that we want to share with you. We want to serve you to make sure that this process is less frustrating for you and is not as frustrating for you as it was for us. Are you with me? Is this something that rings a bell? Is this something that you've experienced? Is this something that you're like, yeah, that happened to me? Let us know what kind of bureaucracy, what kind of problems at the consulate, at the conservatórias. Was it paperwork that there's always one more paper missing, there's always one more thing missing? So it's very important that you prepare for dual citizenship and have everything right. Otherwise, you send it in, and then you need one more paper, or you go to the consulate and you're not prepared, and they're like, you need this is not right, or you need this, or you need that. So we're giving you tips so that you don't go through this, okay? So make sure to tell us on the chat. Go on the chat and comment. Let us know where you're from and what is it that you want to know. And I'm going to go back to the desk right there in a little bit, and I'm going to pull it up and try to answer the best we can. We have a team of legal experts with more than 100 years combined of experience, more than 1,000 cases that they've done throughout the years of citizenships. They've seen it all kinds of situations, all kinds of cases, simple, small to very complex cases, and they've done it. We partnered with notários públicos, with lawyers, to bring you the best framework in the world to take care of this. And I'm very proud to present it, and I'm going to show it to you in detail. I'm going to show you everything about this framework step by step. One of the things that everybody complained, including myself, was, okay, you need a birth certificate. What else? What's next? What is that paper that needs to validate the birth certificate? Is it an apostille? How different is it in Canada? In Canada, why don't we need an apostille? We need to go to the consulate. Then in Portugal, is it one parent or two parents or one parent or two grandparents that need to be Portuguese for me to do this? So many questions, so many things. What is the next step? How long does this take? How come I'm waiting for 2 months, 3 months, 8 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? People file this. Some people, I have a story of somebody been doing this for 35 years. 35 years. Others 10 years. Others, the consulate lost their papers. Okay? So that's why we're here. Becoming a Portuguese dual citizen. Tips for you to expedite your citizenship. We're serving you for free. 3 days, more than 5 hours. Now, this is the opportunity where you can ask us questions, type your questions, go on the chat, show us pictures of the Portugal. So right now, we're going to go right into the details. Kathy is also going to come in a little bit with all the details, all the things you need to do to become a Portuguese dual citizen. Ask your questions. We'll put them up on the screen on the live. And right now, we're going to watch a short video that we prepared about the paths. We call it path 1, path 2, path 3, parents, grandparents, and spouse. And some of the things you need. And then we're going to come back on this live. The video is very short. And then we're going to have Sandra Carapinha from Los Angeles to give you some tips on how to learn Portuguese and who needs the exam, where's the exam, how to do it. So stick around. Check out our video with cartoons here to make it simple, because this is a complex case, for example, through the grandparents in particular, or if you can find your birth certificates, it gets complex. So stick around, share this for the opportunity to gain free services up to $2,000, powers of attorney, birth certificates, government fees. We pay all of that for you. We're going to pick one person to give back to you this great opportunity for new identity, to become a Portuguese dual citizen as you're still a proud American or proud Canadian. Well, I'm going to go back to the desk. Enjoy the video.
Do you want to become a Portuguese dual citizen? We have created a framework to expedite your path to dual citizenship without long waits and no Portuguese bureaucracy, stopping you from making this dream a reality. This is how it works. Were you born in Portugal? Great. You are a Portuguese citizen. Contact us to get your Portuguese ID and passport. The Portuguese passport is one of the most powerful in the world. Live, work, and travel freely in all 27 EU countries without a visa. Was one of your parents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 1 is for you. Was one of your grandparents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 2 is for you. Is your spouse Portuguese and have you been living together for 3 years or more? Citizenship Path 3 is for you. If you hire us and start today, your Framework 2 dual citizenship includes orientation video conference on your preferred platform, login access to our online tool with our framework of steps, instructions, document uploads, legal experts assigned to your path, all Portuguese legal documents including birth certificates, translations, power of attorney, and much more. We pay your Portuguese government application fees. We help you scheduling your appointments, including American institutions and Portuguese consulates, embassies, etc. We submit your citizenship application in Portugal with our online expedited framework. You receive a welcome package mailed to your home to securely mail documents. It includes my book, Portuguese in California, The History of Generations, $60 value, free. Not having to deal with Portuguese bureaucracy, priceless. Unrestricted European Union access to 27 incredible countries. Education and career opportunities. Consular assistance and protection worldwide. Extend the same privileges to your spouse and children. Embrace your Portuguese roots and maintain dual citizenship. Portuguese citizenship is a privilege that could expire after the third generation. If you do not act now, you could lose your opportunity to become a dual citizen and your kids will no longer qualify. The link to your Portuguese heritage will be broken forever. Becoming a Portuguese citizen. Your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Sign up today and take advantage of our monthly payment limited time offer. We are with you every step of the way. www.portuguesecitizenship.org.
Were you born in Portugal? Great! You are a Portuguese citizen. Contact us to get your Portuguese ID and passport. Was one of your parents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 1 is for you. Was one of your grandparents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 2 is for you. Is your spouse Portuguese or have you been living together for 3 years or more? Yes? Citizenship Path 3 is for you. Becoming a Portuguese citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. www.portuguesecitizenship.org.
Sorry, now you can hear me. I had to change to the desk. We had a little. This proves that it is live, so it is a live show. I was saying, welcome, Sandra, to the show here and to our framework to expediting your path to dual citizenship. This is your opportunity to ask Sandra some questions about how to learn Portuguese, what paths need that, how is the test, where it's at, and if you know Sandra, if you work with Sandra, please go to the comments, ask her questions, appreciate her, give her some love. She's awesome. She's doing this for a long time. So welcome, Sandra.
Obrigada. Thank you. Thank you.
So we're going to talk a little Portuguese. So I want you to go, for those watching, we had more than 1,200 people sign up for this and in different platforms. If you're watching this and you talk Portuguese, please go to the comment box and say, I speak a little Portuguese. I speak no Portuguese at all. Vamos falar pouco português. Sandra, primeiras coisas em português. Olá, como estás?
Olá. Estou bem, obrigada. É um prazer estar aqui.
Obrigado. Eu já sei que, na maioria dos casos, as pessoas que nos estão a ouvir falam muito pouco português. If you talk just a little Portuguese, go on the comments and said, very little Portuguese, medium Portuguese, fluent Portuguese, and let us know how Sandra could help. And I'm going to go here on the comments and bring them up. Now, Sandra, $1 million question everybody wants to know: how easy is this test, and how to prepare for this test, and where to take the test?
Okay. So of course the exam, it depends on your level of Portuguese. If you are a total beginner, of course, it requires more time of study, more classes, more preparation. If you grew up speaking Portuguese, listening to your grandparents speaking Portuguese, of course, you'll be in an advantage. You still want to study, you still want to prepare for the exam, be familiar with the exam structure. So it depends. It's case on case scenario. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I work mostly with Americans or Portuguese Americans. And we have different levels, let's say, of learning from students, from the total beginners to the more advanced students. So we have students, for example, heritage students that speak very well Portuguese, understand pretty well Portuguese, but for example, never wrote anything in Portuguese, and they're not so familiar with reading. So what is important to know is that this exam is an A2 level exam. So be aware that in Europe, languages are organized by letters. So you have A level, B level, C level. A level is intermediate. A level is beginners, B level is intermediate, and C level is fluent, advanced. So the exam is at A2 level. So you have to know the basics. You need to know how to interact and speak the basics. But just be aware that the exam is divided in 4 parts. So you're going to have the speaking part, the listening part, the writing, and the reading comprehension. So it's good to practice all components. The good news is that to pass this exam, you only need to have 55% or more. So based on that, based on your strengths and weaknesses, you can really, try to study and focus on, strongly on your strengths and try to improve maybe what you consider are your weaknesses. And the exam can be taken, there are international dates. So like Nelson was saying at the beginning, the organization that runs these exams is called CAPLE. They work together with the Instituto Camões, and in the United States, the examiners are, the people that work for Instituto Camões, but the exams are then sent to CAPLE in Lisbon, and they're the ones that, review and grade these tests. So it's an independent organization that belongs to the Universidade de Lisboa. And so the tricky part with this exam is, if this is what I recommend, if you are traveling to Portugal, I would highly recommend you take the exam in Portugal, because you have more dates and more places to take the exam. So that is just a good thing to know. They're pretty much exams, I would say, every other month that you can take. There's like 1 date per month in that month. If you want to take it in the US, that is possible. It just requires a lot of, preparation, time in advance. There are very few spots, and you have to book it in advance. So usually spots open at the beginning of the year, and the dates for the exam are May and November. So then you can prepare once you have your spot. You can take the exam in, I believe, let me see if I remember all the spots, in Boston, Washington, New Jersey, and in California, in Berkeley. So those are the spots you can take. And again, you have the dates, 1 date in May and 1 date in November. And then the results are posted online pretty much 2 months after the exam. So it does take a while. And then you'll get a certificate, and that certificate will be what you can use with your application to your citizenship. And of course, it's a recognized European certificate. So you can put it in your resume and say that you're A2 level in Portuguese.
All right, that was great information. I think it clarified very, very well. Now, paths through the kids and through the spouses don't need to take the Portuguese exam. However, we always advise and recommend that you learn the language, and the European version, although we love the Brazilian accent. It's a beautiful accent. Actually, one of our co-producers here in the studio is Brazilian. We love their energy, their aura. They're always happy, positive people, but it is different. And if you want to learn European Portuguese, she has a team. You have a team now of how many people? How many years you've been doing this, Sandra?
I launched my project, Learn European Portuguese Online, about 4 to 5 years ago. And now I have a team of 7 teachers. Yes, all in Portugal. We prepare a lot on CIPL prep. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the name of this exam is called CIPL. So it's CIPLE. And that's the name of the exam. So that is the A2 level exam.
That's
Yes.
awesome. We have a question here that I see. My child is 7-year-old. Does he have to complete the test? So I will step in with one thing. If that child is going through the parents, no, at all. Now, if it's going through the grandparents, probably yes. No matter how old they are, any grandkid needs to take the test, right?
Right. Well, but if someone has to take the test, it would be the mother, not the child first.
Okay.
Right? Because if it's for grandparents, I'm assuming the mom needs to get the citizenship before the child. So
No,
then
they could go, let's say, what we advise, Amelia, is that you get the citizenship first, and then the kid does the citizenship. And then nobody needs to take the test, although we recommend you learn Portuguese and you go for it. But, that's the rule. However, if we would not recommend that you go through, that the child goes through the grandparents, skipping your generation, but you could technically do that, and then I guess the child would have to do the test. I'm curious, is there a difference on the test for younger or older generations?
I've never come across a case of a child, so I would have to do some research. I know the CIPL, the specific CIPL that I prepare students for is for age over 18. There is a version for children, but I've never had a case of preparing a child. Yes, because in these cases, usually the parents apply for citizenship before. Yeah.
And I was just going through to wrap up this Portuguese segment. We're going to move into other topics, but we have here, let me see if I find something else on language here. We have different things here. I can speak also to kind of get a feel. I can be understood, but not grammatically great. That's okay. That's one of the things I think Sandra will support me on this opinion. And is some Portuguese or even some mistakes on your Portuguese is better than no Portuguese. So just do it. Antes feito que perfeito. Antes falado do que não falado. E portanto, is this exam new? We completed our dual citizenship a couple years ago and didn't have to take the exam. Okay, so that's the thing. You didn't have to complete the exam probably because you did citizenship from your parents or from the spouse. And actually, from the spouse, about 1 or 2 years ago, they were required to do that as well. That changed. The law changed. The spouses are no longer needed, which is a rule I don't agree. I don't support. I think either the spouses do it and the grandkids do it, or nobody does it. What's the sense of somebody that is from Africa or China or Japan not having to take the exam, and then a grandkid of Portuguese heritage has to do it? But that is the law. We don't make the laws. That was decided with the Portuguese government. Again, let me stress that even if you don't need it, we recommend that you study Portuguese. You do so when you come here, you could. It's way easier to integrate, even just for vacation, and it's another language. It has proven to really help your brain for a well-rounded education for kids. So there's many advantages. Let me see if I have any questions here on Portuguese. Minimal Portuguese, fluent, very little Portuguese, next to none, fluent Portuguese, no Portuguese, fluent in Portuguese, my first language. That's awesome. If one spouse is a citizen, actually married us, there's the 3 years period of. We'll get into those other than Portuguese. I cannot hear you. Yes, we had a little technical for a few seconds. So let me go. I'm going to go here on my phone really quick. And I'm going to check out here. I'm going to do that later, actually, to see your faces, because we can't see some of the faces here on StreamYard. But to wrap this segment on language really quick, how can people contact you, and what do you advise they do? I know you have packages with just like a few lessons if they just want to kind of check you out and get some tips, or if they want to go like hardcore and study almost every day or every week, or how can they do that?
Oh, thank you, Nelson. So first of all, I also wanted just to add, if you want to take a look at the model exam, there is a model exam available that you can download on the CAPL website.
Do us a favor when this live is done. type here on one of our platforms, the one that seems to, they're all
Yeah,
over.
I'll go on Facebook when I'm and I'll
We're on
send the link.
we're like on 7-8 different areas, but then I'll paste it to the different areas. Our production will
Sure.
put the links so that they could reach you. And also, if you could have that sample link so that they could take a look and see, I think that's really helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, and my website is Learn European Portuguese Online. I also have a YouTube channel, so even if you're not interested in lessons right now, you can go on YouTube. I have over 150 videos teaching Portuguese, so take advantage of that free content as well.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. And Feliz Dia de Portugal to, you're still in Santa Monica, California, sunny California, Southern California. Hope all is well there. Abraço, beijinho. Feliz Dia de Portugal. Adeus, obrigado. Obrigado. All right. That was Sandra in Los Angeles, a great, very knowledgeable Portuguese teacher. Just check her out. Now, I'm going to go, before we continue here on our live, I'm going to bring Kathy in next to give you some specifics on how to become a Portuguese dual citizen throughout the different paths, how we can prepare, some of the tips that you need to know, what are exactly the documents you need. We're going to answer some of your questions. Before that, I want to come here and I want to bring a message of a very important person that has a message for all of you in Portuguese. So stick with us if you don't understand the language, because it's a very short message. It's under a minute, and then you could hear some Portuguese and kind of pick up some words. And this is a message from our Consul General of Portugal, Pedro Pinto.
Desejo-vos ótimo dia de Portugal, de Camões e das comunidades portuguesas. O facto de Portugal celebrar o seu Dia Nacional com o Dia de um Poeta e o Dia das Comunidades Portuguesas diz muito sobre o que é Portugal e ser português. Outro poeta português, Fernando Pessoa, disse também que o verdadeiro português nunca foi apenas português, foi sempre tudo. A comunidade portuguesa na Califórnia e na região oeste dos Estados Unidos é o exemplo perfeito disso. A capacidade de integração, ao mesmo tempo que mantém uma fortíssima ligação a Portugal. Para mim e para a equipa do Consulado de Portugal em São Francisco, na Califórnia, na região oeste dos Estados Unidos, é um gosto servir a comunidade portuguesa aqui e vamos continuar a desenvolver uma relação de proximidade que estabelecemos convosco. Viva Portugal! Obrigado.
Yes, viva Portugal, viva as comunidades portuguesas e viva Camões. God bless our beautiful country and the Portuguese that live worldwide, that miss Portugal, that visit Portugal, and or that wanna become a Portuguese citizen and visit more often and been disconnected and now want to connect. So we had celebrations of Dia de Portugal all over the world. Some are still celebrating today, and this is the day 3, the very last day of our challenge. Please sign in to win. Register to win a free service. Includes birth certificates, paying the birth certificates, paying the government fees, paying all the things you need to become a dual citizen. We're going to serve you, and we're going to give one free service to you. Comment, share this live video with your friends, other people that you think might need this, and you could enter to win all these services, up to $2,000 of services, from powers of attorney, translations, legal advice, and all these things. We want to make sure that we give back and we serve on this Dia de Portugal, Camões e Comunidades Portuguesas. Also, you can join us backstage on a Zoom call, where if you don't want to tell or share some of your personal information in public here in the live, we have a lot of people watching us. We have 1,200 people sign up for this challenge in 7 platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So join us backstage for privacy. Still time, about another 15 minutes for you to sign up and ask us specific questions. And let's do this. Let's become a Portuguese citizen. Let's take this Dia de Portugal Portuguese Pride, this Portuguese day, weekend, so that you finally do this. A lot of people are thinking, why should I do this? Why should I do now? Well, the longer you wait, more and more people will be signing up to be Portuguese citizens. More and more people. Just last year alone, I was told from the government that 150,000 Brazilians submitted applications to become Portuguese. And that's just Brazilians alone. That are probably the ones that are signing up the most. Many Americans are not even of Portuguese heritage. They're coming to Portugal. And well, you don't need to want to come to Portugal to do this. You could continue your life in America, but it's always good to have an option. Faster in the airports, access to free Medicare, education, living here for more than 3 months without having to ask for visas. Because if you want to stay in Portugal longer than 3 months, it's just like America or Canada. You need to be a citizen, otherwise you can't. And I think that's fair. If you can't in other countries, you can't here either. That's just the rules they have. So if you become a citizen, you could open your bank accounts, you could buy property. Plus, if you have any inheritance at all, that's one of the things we see. People go to America, to Canada, they don't take care of their stuff, their paperwork, and then the kids, when you're gone, because we're all going to be gone one day, unfortunately, and life goes by fast. It does. And once they're no longer here, once you're no longer here, then it's the ones that stay behind that are going to have to take care of that. And believe me, it's a disaster. It's a mess. Especially if you have property in Portugal or inheritances, and you are not any longer alive, and you didn't take care of the paperwork, it's a nightmare. Now, even if you don't have any inheritances here, any land, any houses, but you want to come here, you want to have a bank account, or you want to have, I don't know, just go faster on the lines, or your kids might want to come, college education. If your kids want to come study in Portugal, college education prices are through the roof in Portugal, in places like Stanford, MIT. In general, you could be paying up to $100,000 a year. I know many people that finish their degree with more than from $500,000 to $1 million in debt. That's crazy. In Europe, I remember when I was in college, it went up probably a bit, but we paid under $1,000 a year of propinas and books and things like that, and we thought it was a lot. You're going to tell me, yes, in Portugal, the salaries are lower. They are. But still a big, huge gap. So we're going to move into the details. I'm going to start coming here on your comments. Last opportunity to comment and share this to enter to win services up to $2,000, and also for me to read your questions here. If you want to be more private, you could come backstage, sign up for the backstage Zoom, where we'll talk to you after this live. Now here's the link for you to order that Zoom. We send you a link, and then you could join our Zoom. Okay, then I'm going to go through serving you for free, completely free, 3 days of serving for Dia de Portugal, Camões e Comunidades Portuguesas, right here. How do we sign up to pay the 37? Okay, right here. This is how you go. Click this link. It's a credit card. You pay $37, and you're with us for an hour to answer your questions, ask advice. We have several people throughout these other 2 days. We did it yesterday, the day before. And some of them, they weren't sure if they want to become Portuguese citizen. And then, after clarifying things, they want to do it. Others were so confused with some of the steps and things because they had complex cases, whether the fathers are now listed on the birth certificate or they're going through the grandkids and they get all this different information. And they're just very confused. And we're going to clear it all up for you. It doesn't have to be a nightmare. It does not have to be a complex process. Yes, if it's through the grandkids or spouse, it will take time. But we can help expedite that. We could help make it faster. How do you sign up to pay the 37? We covered that. We will eventually need to provide a marriage certificate and divorce decree with apostille seal. Correct. If you are in America, apostille. If you are in Canada, there's no Higher Convention, so you need to do the recognition from the consulate. Not in all cases, you need to do the marriage, only some. But the way to check that is to look at your birth certificate, your parents, to see if they were married. You might think they were not in Portugal, but they are. If you're sure they're not, we also have a service that is a direct service I'm going to show you on the website that is just for people that want to register their marriage if they don't want to do anything else. Okay. Then Sonia Ferreira Cunha. Hola, Sonia. Both my parents were born in São Miguel, married in the U.S., divorced in the U.S. I know I must register their marriage before getting my Portuguese citizenship, but must I register their divorce too? Yes, most likely. It's something we really recommend you come on the backstage so we can talk about these sensitive cases, but most likely, yes. And your other question is, one thing I could clarify right away is in Portugal, your divorce needs to be filed by a lawyer, okay? In America, you could gather the papers, and if you want to do it yourself, you could. Canada, I believe it's the same, But here it's mandatory that it's by a lawyer, even if you would be willing to do it or know how to do it. It's by law. It needs to be a lawyer. And we have a great lawyer that's been on the live on the day one. Nelson Torres been doing this for more than 35 years. And he's got some of the best rates in town, very experienced and connected to the community. He speaks English. He's awesome. And we make no commission. We just refer right to him. Sandra Carapinha here with a link. Check her out. More information on learning Portuguese and the test. My daughter Bridget is a Portuguese citizen and has been for 22 years. Congratulations. That's the way to go. I think we all should do this because many of you are not interested in becoming Portuguese, but then the kids are. And then it's very complex for them when you're gone to do it through the grandparents or different ways. It's easier to do it now. It's only going to get harder. I looked at the sample test last night online. I can probably read well, but not much write or speak. Don't cry, don't be sad, don't worry, Gina, because there's people that can help. And if you do that, the speaking, just start practicing. Don't be afraid of mistakes, just do the mistakes and you'll get there. And again, the passing score, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show interest and pass a certain level of score, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to, Sandra was talking about something like 55%. Are there online European classes available? Yes, we just talked with Sandra. She's got those. Check her out. My mother is Portuguese, so does that mean I do have to test the apply for the citizenship? No. If your mother is Portuguese, you do not need to do the test. Or also if a spouse, for example, you married somebody Portuguese and the spouse now wants to become Portuguese, does not. Only grandkids. And that's another reason you should do it now, because then if you don't do it, then the grandkids need to go through all this stuff, FBI test, connection to the community, and all these things that Kathy's going to explain in a little bit. Both me and my husband are Portuguese. That's awesome, Amelia. Are your kids Portuguese? Let's do it. What about the grandchild who is being raised by the grandparents? So grandkids need to go through this path that we just said. It takes a little bit more time, but it's doable. The faster you start, the faster you'll get there. I celebrated yesterday in Kelly Park, Dia de Portugal, Kelly Park, with children, cousin, bifanas, drank small with linguiça sandwich for the dinner. That is awesome. Washington, D.C., all of my 4 grandparents who were born in São Miguel, Azores, Raymond Medeiros. I do not understand or speak any Portuguese and have very difficult time learning any language. Well, there's people that are really qualified to help you do that and make it easier for you. And it does not need to be perfect. Some words are better than none. I can speak and be understood. Is this exam new? Well, there's updates, but it's not new. Actually, more people had to take it, like the spouses now less. I'm typing for my husband. Portuguese is his first language, but has not spoke much in 50 years. So let's do it. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. It is a beautiful language, one of the most spoken languages in the world. At some point, it was number 3 on social media, the most spoken on the Southern Hemisphere. It keeps growing, but almost 300 million people speak it because of just almost 200 million Brazilians, I believe, and Angola, Portugal, Cabo Verde, India, Macau. Minimal Portuguese, but I will study. I grew up around it daily, but not in over 25 years. I lost a lot. Não se preocupe. Você consegue. Você consegue. Fluent, maravilha. Se você é fluente, nunca perca a sua língua e passe também aos seus filhos, porque várias línguas são sempre muito melhor do que só uma, mesmo que não sejam perfeitas. E, portanto, estamos aqui com as questões quase feitas. Almost done with the questions. I'm moving to Azores in September. Is it better to start application now or when I'm there? Great question. Okay, so there's documents you're going to need from America or Canada and documents you're going to need from Portugal. So if you're coming here, you should bring the documents that you need from America here. And then once you're here, one of the advantages is you don't have to go to the consulate. Their consulates are, great places with great honorable employees and amazing consul generals, but they're very low on staff. And it's not their fault because the staff is underpaid, overworked. It's the leadership. It's the secretaries of state that are not doing a good job. They keep promising, making promises, and then the consulates are just worse and worse every year. And message clear to you. A lot of people go complain on the lives that that they're waiting for a year, 2, 3, 4. We have nothing to do with the consulates, on the sense of we don't represent the consulates or any consul general. I'm actually the advisor to the Portuguese consul until this July. I've been for 7 years, and we try to help and facilitate between your problems and their lack of staff. But it is not my fault. Don't blame me. Don't blame becoming a Portuguese citizen or PortugueseCitizenship.org. We are here to help. We are here to facilitate. So to answer your question, yes, you should bring documents from America. Try to do it here. That way you don't need, for example, a power of attorney. You save about 100, 200, 300. Depends. A power of attorney could go from 100 to 200, 300, depending where you go. You don't need that because you don't need anybody to represent you. You do it yourself. Other things that are faster too is you could ask for the birth certificates of your ancestors. If you're in America, it's almost impossible to do that. And what how do I get apostille for marriage divorce certificate? The apostille, you get it with your state, in the Secretary of State. We could, if you go to our website, we have examples, we have things like that. In our framework, we show you exactly where to go. If you purchase our framework and if you purchase our services, there's the link directly to get online in the states that you're able. If not, we send you the address. We show you an image of how it looks, okay? And then I'm going to bring here Kathy to start explaining some of these paths. Before I do that, I'm going to show you the paths that we have available, and then Kathy's going to come right in here and tell you exactly what you need to start gathering, to start preparing. Feliz Dia de Portugal. Até já.
Were you born in Portugal? Great! You are a Portuguese citizen. Contact us to get your Portuguese ID and passport. Was one of your parents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 1 is for you. Was one of your grandparents born in Portugal? Citizenship Path 2 is for you. Is your spouse Portuguese, or have you been living together for 3 years or more? Yes, Citizenship Path 3 is for you. Becoming a Portuguese citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. www.PortugueseCitizenship.org.
Alrighty, so now we have here our website right here. We're going to go in there and show you exactly the things you knew. Welcome, Kathy. Kathy's going to turn her mic on, and then she's going to be right on ready. She's going to give you some of the steps, some of the exact steps that we need to do this. Kathy, Path 1. How should people prepare for Path 1? Parents, we call it parents or kids, if you're getting it from your parents.
So for Path 1, it's fairly simple. You would need to have your birth certificate with the apostille. So some states you are able to order the birth certificate and the apostille together. Some states you are not. It just really depends. So if you go to the vital records, just that generic thing, it'll give you the option to. Doesn't always work. We've had people come back and say, oh, well, I already ordered it. I only got the birth certificate. State of California, for example, you may purchase the birth certificate and the apostille through a third party. You're only going to get the birth certificate because the state of California does not allow the apostille to be issued with the birth certificate. You would need to receive the birth certificate. Once you receive it, you would then send it back into the Secretary of State. California is one that we work with a lot. So I know that they have a drop box in Sacramento. They also have a drop box in LA, or you could mail it into Sacramento. The turnaround on those are usually a couple months from start to finish. So if you're going through Parents Path, you would need to do that for yourself. If both of your parents are Portuguese, then we would pull their birth certificates here in Portugal. Through that, we would be able to see if their marriage is registered here or not. I had showed this the other 2 times, but this would be an example of the Portuguese birth certificate. Documentation here of, where they were born, dates. Back here on the second page will tell us everything that has happened to the person that this birth certificate belongs to. So were they married? Were they just, were they divorced? Have they already deceased? It gives us all of that information on the Portuguese birth certificate. So then we would know if you would have to register your parents' marriage here or not. If you would, then you would have to have their marriage certificate from the U.S., also with an Apple still. We've had some questions saying, oh, I have, my parents got married in the U.S., they got divorced in the U.S. So we would have to look at their marriage certificate and at your birth certificate to see how that would be done here in Portugal, or if it could be bypassed. Most likely it would have to be registered and divorced here. For grandparents, most of the cases that we've dealt with, either both grandparents or one grandparent is Portuguese. Both parents are U.S. citizens, Canadian citizens. You would need to get your birth certificate, your parents' birth certificates, and then your grandparents' birth certificates we would pool. On that, like I said, we would be able to see if their marriage was registered. Most likely they were married in Portugal and immigrated after the fact. And then for spouse would be also similar to grandparents, where you would have to do the whole marriage registration. And then the only pieces that are different on those versus the parents' path is the letter of connection and the FBI tests. And then for grandparents, the Portuguese test. So for FBI, that one's fairly easy. You would just book an appointment, get your fingerprints done. They would send you a letter saying, you're clear. And then for a letter of connection, we would just need any type of documentation that proves your connection to the Portuguese community, to Portugal itself. We would document the letter yourself. We just ask that you provide us with what we consider proof. So any pictures of you in Portugal, ticket stubs, itinerary printouts. If you're a member of a Portuguese hall or a Portuguese organization, asking their board of directors to draft up an introduction letter of when you became a member and what they're about. Just anything that would strengthen your connection to Portugal, because that is one of the pieces, especially for spouse, that they do look at in granting citizenship or not.
All right, Kathy. So I'm going to bring here our framework of steps on the screen from my phone right here on my desk. And tell us a little bit about this framework and this app or this website to access that is a revolution and innovation in the Portuguese legal system. It is private. It is not from the government, but then it prepares you to put your application in the Portuguese government, file with our expedited framework system, and it was told by government officials that it's even more efficient, more innovative than their own system. So we're very proud of the system. We use this framework that took us more than 20 years of mistakes and frustrations to get there, to make sure that you do this with no bureaucracy, with no headaches, with no stress, and it's done on a simple platform on Monday.com, one of the best project management platforms. It's like Asana or Basecamp or those. I'm going to pull it on the screen. Tell us a bit about how has been the interaction of people with this app and how this works for them, Kathy.
I would say that in all of our clients, probably a good 99% love them. They love the fact that they can see where we're at in their citizenship process. They can see who the step that it's been delegated to, that it's been sitting on. So if it's something on the client's end, then I can go in and say, hey, have you heard? Is your birth certificate on its way? Have you received it? If it's something that I need to do, then I can see that I'm responsible for that. It's also a great way for us to be able to see all of the documents without having to physically have them, because you can just snap a picture of it, upload it, and then it's available for us to see. So if we do have any questions where I'm not exactly 100% or Nelson's not exactly 100% on how to answer, we can then have our legal team, who is also granted visibility on this platform, go in and check it out and see if it's something that they need to take over, if it's just a simple question, or it's just really easy. It's very user friendly. You could have it just on your desktop. You could have it on your phone. I have it on both. I get notifications anytime someone asks a question or uploads anything. So I'm on it literally pretty much 24/7. which makes it also easy because I'm constantly responding. So you're not going to ask a question and then wait, 3, 4, 5 weeks to see if anyone's going to answer. And then it also has a really cool feature that if I ask you a question, I get to see if you've seen it or not. So I can see if you've ignored me or if you don't know, and same vice versa. If you ask me a question, you're going to know if I've seen it. So it just kind of gives everyone a little bit more of responsibility on making sure things get done. So it doesn't just sit on a desk somewhere or in an email box and you don't know if anyone's seen it or if they've even taken a look at it or if it's just been ignored. It just gives accountability to everyone that's part of your citizenship path.
All right, Kathy. Thank you so much. I thought that was very clear. You guys, any questions? Let us know. Last opportunity. Join us backstage on Zoom. Very intimate, small group. Very, very few people, so that we could we limit the space so that we make sure that you get what you're looking for. We answer all of your questions. We get you prepared. It's only $37, the cost of a lunch or dinner in Canada, United States, for 1 hour of advice. If it's something that is very complex that we don't know, we have a legal team that's been doing this for many years. We could help. Now, Kathy, Feliz Dia de Portugal, and thank you so much. And Kathy's going to be the one behind the scenes helping you out if you decide to do this citizenship with us. We have our website right here, PortugueseCitizenship.org, PortugueseCitizenship.org. With you click here, dual citizenship, explains what's your path. If one of your parents was born in Portugal, you go with one. If one of your grandparents was born in Portugal, you go with path 2. If your spouse is Portuguese and you've been married for 3 years, and again, spouse, this could be just you could be just together for 3 years. It's also open for the modern times of it could be 2 men, 2 women. It's very flexible on that sense of spouse. The spouse doesn't need a Portuguese test, and then you go through the paths. 30-day money back guarantee. So if you're not happy with this, you could get your money returned, no questions asked. You have path 1. Parents, if one of your parents was Portuguese, you have path 2, grandparents. If one of your grandparents was Portuguese, path 3, spouse. If your spouse is Portuguese, you have the option here of doing monthly payments. If you're struggling, or if you just don't want to commit too much money to this, or if you want to kind of wait and see if how this works, and if you're like, oh, I don't know these guys, well, go check out the testimonials. But you could start with a monthly payment. It's not a big risk of investing in money. You could cancel. We give you the money back if you don't like it. You have here testimonials in the end. I recommend that you see it. We have here some words from the president of Portugal when I wrote my book, Portuguese in California. That was very nice and kind of him to do that. We have Senhora Manuela Silveira, former vice consul, a sweet lady that is a very, very good friend. We worked together on many occasions. David Augusto from a financial advisor, Edward Jones, that tells you about how his nightmare of becoming a Portuguese was and how we were able to help him. Liz Rodrigues, very good friend in Artesia, Los Angeles, California, on how this framework just makes you do it from the comfort of your home, not having to go into these old-fashioned Portuguese institutions that take forever to do stuff. Paul Mnizers, a lawyer and honorary consul in Los Angeles. Angela Simões, former chair of Palcas, now is still working with the community for many years, also in public communications for top PR firms. You could schedule a call completely free with us. Schedule a call, a video call, so that we interact, and you don't have to wait for the consulates or for the embassies to answer you back. We could answer all your questions, get your paperwork going, because there's a lot of stuff you don't need to do at the consulate. So whatever you don't need to do, you don't need to do it. You could do it with us, or we could give you tips to do it by yourself. Okay? Let me just go back here before we wrap up this live. These are your paths. Monthly payments or one-time payments. Join us. We will help you with our framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship, with our innovative platform work. You could do it online. If you don't like internet or apps or computers, we could still do this with you on the phone. We would love to help you. We would love to serve you. But hey, even if just this challenge was good enough for you to learn tips and do it on your own, we're blessed. We are very happy that we were able to help you and to serve you on this 3-day challenge. Dia de Portugal. Thank you so much, Kathy. We're gonna wrap this up here. Join us backstage. Last opportunity to go. There's the link on the comments. We're gonna be going right there with a very small, intimate group of people to answer their questions. I thank you so much for joining me during these 3 days. We had more than 1,200 people sign up for this, mostly from Canada, United States. I hope this challenge was helpful. I hope this was something that cleared your questions. If not, answer the questions. Join us. We are here to serve you. My name is Nelson Ponta Garça, NPG, here to serve the Portuguese community worldwide. I was an advisor of consul generals for 16 years and 7 as a representative of the community. Been hearing how this is a problem, so I decided to act. So take advantage of that, because I don't know how long we're going to be doing this. We're going to stick around until we finish all our clients. We have dozens and dozens of clients we're helping, but we do many things. We do real estate, we do TV, we do books, we do documentaries, we do tourism. But now we're very committed to this, and we want to serve, we want to help. So check us out. And even if just these tips helped you a lot, please, I appreciate if you could go to the comments, show us some love for people that think this is a fraud or a scam, or that can't believe, oh, this is too good to be true. We just showed you. So let us know. Muito obrigado a todos. Grande abraço para todos os portugueses a viverem em todo o mundo. God bless. Thank you so much. And Feliz Dia de Portugal. Obrigado. Becoming a Portuguese citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship. Hi, I'm NPG, and I help Portuguese descendants all over the world with dual citizenship, guiding them along with our network of experts all the way from here in Lisbon to America, without confusing steps and bureaucratic documents. I know, it's very hard to believe. Sign up right here. Let's get this started. Becoming a Portuguese dual citizen.
Thank you, Nelson. I appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, everyone. Bon dia.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Can you imagine yourself here in the center of Lisbon? Who would you bring? Your family, your friends? Imagine the things you could do with your Portuguese dual citizenship. You could use any of the Medicare that Europe has to offer. You could work and study. The cartão cidadão. We call it a very bureaucratic country, and it is, but it has something new. So in America, you need to have an extra social security card. The cartão cidadão has 3 numbers in the back. Once you get your citizenship, the passport is very, very fast. It depends on the timing, but sometimes it could take just a week. Once you have all that in order, then it's very easy to make your kids also citizens, because you have all the documents organized.
This is what he's going to do for you. He's going to introduce to you the stress relief of becoming a Portuguese citizen without you having to leave your house. And this is what we need.
For the past 20 years, he had the opportunity to serve as an advisor to 4 consul generals of Portugal in the United States.
You built a huge credibility within all the communities, I believe. Your interaction with the consulate office, with the government of Portugal, you built that respect.
Doing things for the community, working tirelessly together. You're one of the few people that I've always been able to count on. If you say you're going to do something, I know you're going to do it. And if I want something done and I have you do it, I know it's going to get done and done well.
This experience of having your citizenship, it's something that it's easy. It's not the nightmare you're used to hearing everybody describe, so that you have access to some of these documents, to Portuguese documents that are difficult for you to understand.
Is there a significant difference in process for Canadian versus U.S. citizens?
The process and the documents they require are the same.
And I am in Hayward, California, over here on the sunny side of the bay.
Digam-me se preferem que eu fale convosco em português ou inglês.
I've been interested in many years to become a Portuguese citizen.
Getting up in age, and I would like to go over there more often, and I'd like to become part of the Portuguese community.
I already have both originals.
I have a question about my birth certificate, passport, and driver's license.
Do I just click on that link?
So the email went through, and I'm getting the app on my phone right now.
This team of people you could trust, people that could really take care of you and your citizenship, walk you by the hand all the way through the process. Very knowledgeable lawyers, solicitadores, notários públicos. From here in Lisbon, from America, in Portuguese, in English, you can find your path to citizenship. Or even if you are a citizen, but you want to get the citizenship for your kids, and you're wondering what do you need to do, what's the next step, to interact with us, to be on the same room and talk back and forward about your process so that we could help you identify your path to citizenship. Thousands of citizenships, complex cases, and solve problems that you weren't able to solve up to now because they don't answer the phone or they don't email you at the places you've been trying. And you'll have access to this beautiful team, and I will be here with you, guiding you and helping you. If there's one thing you know I do is I get things done, and I will help you getting your Portuguese dual citizenship.
He was elected to represent the Portuguese community in America as advisor to the Portuguese government.
That is something that is priceless, and I'm a perfect example. Trying to do it on your own can be extremely frustrating and lead to a lot of dead ends.
O Nelson sempre mostrou uma capacidade de trabalho enorme, de boa vontade para chegar ao fim de uma meta.
Incredible in terms of the work ethic. Your character is one that is to be admired, and you're a doer. You facilitate the process.
Become Portuguese citizens, especially in Portugal, because it takes decades to get something done. He's not trying to get your money. That's not what it's all about. It's all about his heart, because he wants to help people without spending a lot of money and spending time. And then you'll be waving the red, green, and yellow flag, and you'll be going, Heroes do Mar!
Become a Portuguese dual citizen, your framework to an expedited path to dual citizenship.